In this scenario, we will show you how to track internal inventories. We have customers who tend to be larger, but need to use QuickBooks to help track their internal inventories, like paper stock, hole punchers, binders, erasers, etc. One customer of ours is a big manufacturing plant, but their requisition division was also responsible for stocking their $50,000 plus office supply stock and making sure that they had quantity on hand whenever somebody needed an office supply. Another customer of ours runs a state rehabilitation facility for veterans. They have to stock everything for the work facilities, living quarters, gym, sports venues, etc. In both of these scenarios, they do care about the quantity and the value of the products used, but they don't have customers per se. Now, in both of these cases, we were using QuickBooks just to track the internal inventories. It was not the accounting system for our client. So what we do is we set up each item as an inventory part. So in my items list, I'll create a new item, an inventory part called Notepad. And I'll put in the manufacturer's part number. And because I'm an enterprise, although Premier has this feature as well, I can set up a multiple unit of measure. So we can buy by the case and sell by the each as an example. And the description will be Notepad, and the cost will be $1.20, and the cost of goods sold account will be office supplies, right? Cost of goods sold, quick add. The preferred vendor will be Office Depot, quick add, and the sales price will be 0 because we don't actually expect to sell this to anybody, right? We're not actually going to make any sales income on this. And then the income account we can put to sales. Or what do we have in here? Revenue, that's fine. Again, we're not expecting to make any revenues on this item. The inventory asset account, I'll make one called Office Supply Inventory. Okay. And then the reorder points are extremely important here because they help to make sure that we have notepads on hand whenever somebody comes and needs a notepad. All right. And then I'm going to create another one, inventory part, and we'll say for seat cushions. And put in the manufacturer's part number. And seat cushion. And the cost is going to be $5. Cost of goods sold. Preferred vendor is Supplies Depot. 0 sales price, stick it to revenue, that's fine because we don't expect anything to ever post there. And the inventory asset, I'm still just going to put it to office supply inventory. Okay, and the minimum is 4 and the maximum is 20. Now we go in and create a purchase order for the parts that we're ordering. So from Office Depot, we're going to order some items. Actually, since we're in here, why don't we go in and use our auto reorder feature. So let's go to our reports and our inventory stock status by item report and choose our quantity available to reorder. And it's going to tell us we need to order the notepads and the seat cushions and auto create POs for the 500 and the 20 and create my POs automatically. Of course, that's an enterprise only feature. Now let's go in and receive in against these POs. So receive inventory, I'm just going to say with a bill, that's fine. The vendor is Office Depot. Open purchase orders exist, so receive in, okay, and I'm just going to receive it to my warehouse as a site. Save and new, and then I have from Supplies Depot, receive in, and choose again my warehouse as the site. So save and close. Now, in the case of our manufacturing customer who had this set up, they did allow their staff to log into QuickBooks and enter sales orders, and that was their way of requesting product. So they would come into a sales order, and of course in enterprise you can limit what people have access to. You can say they can view, create, modify, delete sales orders. So they would come into a sales order, they would say Adams, Rob is the customer. Oh, it's already on the employee list. Okay. Adams, Robert is the customer. We'll say quick add. and Robert needs a new seat cushion. Okay, so he would say, I need a new seat cushion, quantity of 1, again, $0 sales price. And of course, we could modify these templates to only have on them what you want people to see. But I would save this. Now, when I did that, what does it do inside of QuickBooks? If I click this little graph here, it shows I have 20 on hand, I have 1 on a sales order to fulfill, so 19 available. Okay. Now, when I go in and I fulfill this, I'm going to create the invoice. Okay, it's a $0 invoice, but at this point, it's going to relieve inventory, right? Because I have to assign a site, so my warehouse. So at this point, it's going to relieve inventory. So it is removing this seat cushion from inventory. So when I look at my quantity on hand, or my quantity available or quantity on hand, I now only have 19. Okay, now because I had received it in with a cost, when I sell it, it associates the cost of this item appropriately for me. Now, I had associated it with the cost of goods sold account, but you probably should associate that with a expense account, right? If you're running this as their actual accounting system. However, in our customer's case, they're not running it as their actual accounting system. So whether it's cost of goods sold or expense, it doesn't matter, because these are the only items that are going to be going through here, the only transactions that are going to be running through. So, okay, I have an invoice for Robert Adams, so let me go ahead and do another one and say Smith, comma Brad, and on Brad Smith, he's going to have a seat cushion. He's actually going to do it from my warehouse and have 2. And then also going to have some notepads. So it needs about 10 notepads. It's got a lot of stuff going on. And we're going to go ahead and say save. Now the result of this, right, is that again, we're maintaining what's our quantity on hand. We'll be able to go in and run reports based on our stock status by item reports to see when we need to reorder products. And then also by including the customer and job in there, we're able to run a profit and loss standard report or a profit and loss and total by customer as an example. Okay. And on this report, so I'm going to just filter down for the items that we have set up and say that I just want to do it for seat cushions and for notepads. Whoops. And notepads. Let's do a search. There we go. Okay. Now it's showing me in here just the seat cushions and the notepads for Robert Adams and Brad Smith, and it's showing me how much of a cost these employees have been using. So if I see that once a quarter, Freddie has been using several $100s in office supplies, I can go to Freddie and say, hey Freddie, what's going on? Right? We had a lot of office supply usage. Whereas, the rest of your coworkers only have, $5 to $20 worth of usage in a quarter. So it helps us maintain and see who's using the products as well, which was a very big concern for our customer because their office supplies were adding up and creating a big expense. So this is how we have set up tracking internal inventories for our customers historically.